Three wins out of three with a tough welcome to hell game against Galatasaray in the Europa League tonight. A great run of form domestically, albeit with a couple of disappointing wobbles against Brighton and Palace. But some Tottenham fans seem determined to jump on the Ange out train at the first sign of trouble. I wanted to ask one of our most positive leaning Spurs fans, Jo Dudderidge, for his thoughts on where we really are heading towards the end of the calendar year. So how are you, Joe, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. As always, feeling positive about Spurs and
Are you happy
what's
to
to
be described
come.
as one of our most positive Spurs leaning regulars on the Spurred On podcast?
I don't mind that at all, really. I mean, I see enough to feel positive about, but that said, I was pretty positive under Conte and even Mourinho, so maybe I'm very much a glass half full kind of
Yeah,
guy.
I'm a little bit like that as well. I obviously am doing watch-alongs for We Are Tottenham TV at the moment, so I don't get to the stadium. What would you say that the atmosphere has been like at the stadium for the last few home games? Obviously, let's go with, I guess, Villa and Man City, where it must have been super positive, I'd have thought.
Yeah, Villa. I was there. Man City, unfortunately, I was away in Milan for that. But yeah, Villa was amazing and really just it's just loud in there, and I feel like people are really getting behind the team in the important moments. And I think the team have made it clear that they need the crowd on side. And you saw the way that Brennan Johnson celebrated. You know, he was immediately trying to get the fans going because I think that connection between the fan base in the stadium and the players is obviously something that the players think about a lot as well. So it
Yeah.
feels like it's getting better for sure. City, I believe it was just as good, if not better as well. So
Yeah, the one thing that I mentioned obviously in the opening there that, it feels like some Spurs fans, and maybe it's in reality, maybe it's the kind of online Spurs fans are very reactionary and can be seen in the comments saying Ange out whenever something goes bad. But in terms of what I hear from the stadium, I still hear the kind of Ange Postecoglou chant getting sung every home game. So he seems to have a lot of the kind of real support.
yeah, I think on the whole, Ange's backed. There are some loud dissenting voices who are concerned that he's maybe not as pragmatic as he could be, but I think he seems to be showing adaptability between different games. You know, the way he's changing between a double pivot, well, sort of double pivot, or at least not two number tens anyway,
Mm.
by rotating Kulu and Madison. I think he's proving some of those doubts as wrong, but I think he always said it's gonna take a while for this to work. But in the stadium, definitely everyone's behind him, and those who aren't are being drowned out, I think.
And isn't there an argument to say with the way that if you look at what's happening at Man City at the moment, they've lost three games on the spin, that even the best teams can have dodgy results. Arsenal, I don't want to describe them as one of the best teams, but Arsenal have set their stall out in the last 18 months playing basically four centre backs across the back line. So they are the pragmatic comparison. And they've just lost a couple of games in a row, only 2 points above us as well. So I personally, and I don't know if you agree, but I personally feel very, very good about the fact that we're playing lovely front foot football. And sure, there are a couple of outlying difficult results, but overall, the last kind of 12 games have been on a great run.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? Nine, well, in 11 games, I think it's 9 wins, and then those two dodgy results against Brighton and Palace. I mean, the form is good. I mean, what's strange about our form this year is that compared to last year, I think I don't know if this stat is correct, but I think we've scored more goals and conceded less than
Far fewer, yeah.
last season.
Mm.
But we've got less points, and
Yeah.
I can't get my head around it. But I think there's plenty of reasons to be positive. We're still in the Carabao Cup. You know, we were dumped out by Fulham last year. You know, so if you think about it in those terms, we're doing much better. We're back in Europe. We've not lost the game until
Yeah.
hopefully not tomorrow.
Should say
But we'll see
we're
about
filming
that.
this on Wednesday. We're filming this on Wednesday, but it's going to go out Thursday morning. So when he says tomorrow, he means tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I actually thought it was Wednesday today, but it's obviously Thursday.
Well, just
uh,
you mentioned the Galatasaray game. Let's go into that a little bit. Do you feel like, as I do, that the kind of three wins out of three that we've got in that competition so far means this is kind of a free hit? And as a result, is there a chance? Because I remember some games down the years, especially in Europe, where I thought, oh, we've got quite a rotated team here. I don't think we're going to do much. And then actually some of those players surprise me. Is there a chance that some of the young players might surprise us tonight and we could go to hell and actually get something?
I mean, it's quite a thing for a 17-year-old Mikey Moore to go to Turkey and play in that stadium with that level of hatred and what
Mm,
the welcome to hell vibe that you get there. I mean, I think all the fans that are going have to get ferried in 2 hours before the game, and they have to wait 3 hours afterwards. I hope they're going to feed them because I thought about going, and then I
no.
looked into it. I was like, wow, this doesn't seem actually that much fun, but it'll be great on the television, obviously. But for those players, you've got to go in there. If Archie Gray plays, if Mikey Moore plays, Bergval,
Yeah.
as an 18-year-old, that's going to be mental. But I think long term that it could be a hell of an experience for him, even if they get, beaten. I think it will be something, that will bring their career along quite incredibly. So I think he will play a lot of the kids, and obviously with the squad being depleted, I think some players who might not have played will end up playing as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they react.
Do you think he'll give Dominic Solanke a rest and actually go full metal jacket with Will Lancashire up front as well?
I have the feeling that Solanke is maybe all right at this stage of the season. He can probably, crack on. He seems to be one of the fittest players in the Premier
Mm.
League. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts, in lieu of Richarlison's injury. Obviously, he might be able to play Sonny through the front, but I think at 32, we now realise that Sonny's best position is, making a huge impact off the left. And so, yeah, maybe Lancashire's got a chance. Maybe he'll even chuck in Dorrington, but I don't know. That might be a step too far. But yeah, we'll see. Lancashire's got the chops. I think it'll be interesting for his development, but maybe Solanke will be that kind of point up front that we can get the ball to and win a lot of those duels up there that will help us kind of progress the ball forward.
Yeah.
Without having a lot of experience inside.
From my point of view, it just feels nice. And it's a very rare situation as a Spurs fan where I feel like I can watch that game kind of calmly. Like, as long as we don't get pumped like 9-0 or something, can watch it calmly and just see how the development of those players comes in such a, like you said, in such a difficult atmosphere. So in terms of obviously this being a Europa League game and we've got the Carabao Cup quarterfinal coming against Manchester United in the middle of December. What do you think our chances genuinely are? I know it's such a hypothetical because knockout games can go so weirdly, and you can get sendings off and whatever. But what do you think our chances really are of playing up to Ange's? I always win things in my second season, and can we get the monkey off our back?
I don't see why not. I think we've shown that if we take the ball on to take the game to the opposition, that we've got every chance of scoring goals. And if our defense continues to get tighter at the back, I do think we've got a chance. And like knockout games are all about who's willing to take those risks and beat the teams in the 90 minutes. And a lot of these games won't even go to a replay now. So I think that probably even plays into our hands more.
I feel like, do you remember years ago when Gerard Houllier first took over at Liverpool kind of on his own and they won, I think I'm right in thinking they won the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and what was the UEFA Cup, but now the Europa League, all in one season. My feeling, I don't know if you agree with this, my feeling is that our best chance of winning the Europa League is if we win the Carabao Cup first and kind of get that monkey off our back and feel that kind of winning feeling. So in terms of that Man United game, and you've spent a lot of your life in Manchester, actually, so you know a lot of United fans. Do you think we've got more or less of a chance of getting through to that semi-final now that they're bringing in Amorim over Ten Hag?
I'd say less. I
Mhm.
mean, he clearly seems to be a great manager, though I'm not entirely sure he's got the players at his disposal yet to be able to play the kind of football that he wants to play. But we'll see. Yeah, I'd much rather have played them under Ten Hag because they were, you know, they had their limitations, and I'm not sure really they were running for him either properly,
Mm.
especially the forwards like Garnacho and Rashford. It'll be interesting to see how much fire in their belly they've got. But United have always been dangerous on the break, and they've been dangerous at Tottenham before because if we play our game, then we're likely to leave a lot of space in behind, and that's when they can really hurt us. But I'm still confident that we'll beat them at White Hart Lane, definitely.
That's what I wanted to hear. I saw a clip on a United fan channel's Twitter account this morning of some of the play that Sporting Lisbon were some of the passing that they were doing against Man City when they won 4-1 the other night. And the Man United fan channel was like, look at this. This is what we can expect to Man United. And I was so close to just being like, yeah, but do you remember how Erik ten Hag's Ajax played against Spurs that season? They got to semi-final. They were brilliant and they played such incredible attacking football. And so it shows, I think, that it's not quite as simple as the manager comes in and is able to do it. He has to get them on board first and then get them playing that kind of level of brave attacking football, or at least kind of passing football. And like you said, I agree, Ten Hag, I think for me the biggest thing was Ten Hag clearly didn't have the personality to win a lot of those players over. Anyway, moving on to the Premier League, obviously Ipswich at home next, and then after the international break, Man City away. What are your thoughts on those games? What can you foresee happening, Joe?
I think Ipswich, I think we'll win it. I think they'll probably have a lot more energy than we will. So we won't roll them over, excuse the tractor pun, but we should be able to do them. I reckon that, they simply don't have the players that we do. Slightly scared that Jack Clark is going to come in and
the script,
yeah, it's all there. So yeah, I think we'll be fine. And then City away, that we could end up with the Guardiola bounce back by that point. But I think, again, City seem to be one of these sides that are a bit of a bogey team for them, in that they allow us space to play because they play a not too dissimilar style of football to us, and that they want to dominate possession, they want to play a high line. And if we're on it with our counter-attacking, then we can really hurt them, as we showed in the 3-3 draw last year. So
yeah. And the amount of chances we made beating them in the Carabao Cup as well. I just wanted to say, like, I agree with you totally. I go into all the Spurs games now going, at least I know we're going to make chances. And then ironically, I said that on the watch along at the beginning of the Crystal Palace game, where we then went and made no chances whatsoever. Do you think that was just complacency that game or was it that Palace just really got in our faces and we didn't have the energy to cope with it?
Well, I think, yeah, I agree exactly what you said. And sometimes I think if we feel like a team is bullying us, then we can't seem to react to that. We don't have the physicality necessarily to get back at them, or maybe we're just having an off week. It kind of reminded me of, like, when Poch used to say that he knew within 5 minutes whether we were going to win the game or not, just because of the way the team would approach. And maybe that we've still got a bit of that. But Palace were, on a terrible run that day, and just watching the game, you could see they just wanted it more, and they were winning all those duels, and maybe there was a fatigue element. If you look at Kulusevski's stats from that game, I think he won like 2 out of 11 duels or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but it was something very un-Kulu-like. So when he's not doing well, you kind of think, well, what's going on today? Maybe the Palace guys, just had way more Weetabix than we did.
It must be. It must be that. And you mentioned Decky there. He has definitely impressed me the most out of all of our players this season. Is that the same with you? And who else has kind of surprised you, if you like?
Yeah, all the things he's doing are very similar things to what he would do off the right flank. But before, he would only have a certain space in order to use that skill set, and often, he'd come off the right flank and then come inside, and he'd be at the edge of the penalty area. But he's affecting the game in a different way now, because he's able to drag 1 or 2, sometimes 3 midfielders with him, and it creates so much space for other attackers that I think he's just affecting the game more, being in that number 10 kind of, or roaming 8 position.
Yeah, I've just been so impressed with him. I really feel like he's going to be our next kind of £100 million player. And Levy always has been really good, I think, at when he sees that a player is really growing, he'll try and sign them up to a kind of extended and a better paid contract. So I'm kind of hopeful he'll do the same. So I'm going to ask you the difficult questions now before we end, which is, one, your prediction for tonight against Galatasaray, and then also, league finish this season, Joe. Where do you currently feel? Where do you currently feel we're likely to finish? Because I think a lot of teams are starting to slip up. Sorry, I think there are a lot of games coming over Christmas, and I just feel like if we can just turn around that away form and get that off the kind of script pundits back, then maybe we could push further than we expected.
Yeah, I think we'll make top four.
I
Whether
love
we'll
that.
push for
I
the
love that.
yeah, yeah, we definitely will. I think a lot of teams will be up there that probably I've got a feeling Chelsea are going to be consistent. They've just got a lot of good players and they've got a good manager. They're really annoying. And yeah, so I think that fourth place will probably be between us and them, and
Mm.
then probably be Arsenal, Liverpool, and City for the racing for the title. Well, that's what we want to believe anyway. But yeah, so
Only two
fourth
points
fourth
behind
would be
Arsenal,
great.
Joe. Only 2 points behind, and they've got Chelsea
It's
at the
true.
weekend, and
It's
we've got
true. Yeah.
Ipswich. Could be above them going into the international break.
Oh, well, that would be good. But yeah, in terms of the Galatasaray game, I do think that they will probably beat us, but I think it'll be like 3-2 or something like
An
that.
honourable defeat. I
Yeah,
think
I don't really want to say, I don't like saying stuff like that,
let's
but
say
I
let's say
think,
2-2 then.
yeah, 2-2 sounds better.
2-2, and do you know what I can foresee? I can foresee us conceding an early goal. Like the atmosphere might be too
Yeah.
much. Maybe Victor Osimhen gets an early goal or something. But then big Davinson Sanchez, who I love and once met at a petrol station, by the way, in North London. Big Davinson Sanchez is pressed within an inch of his life and gives the ball away, and we score an equaliser in the last minute to make it 2-2. That's what I'm predicting. Anyway, Joe, thanks so much for coming on the show. Let my audience know where they can where they can find your music, please.
Yeah, if you just go to lateryouth.com, yeah, you can find my music. I've got a new single out now, so yeah, go and
And are
check
you
it
on
out.
tour at the moment? You're gigging at the moment?
I've been doing bits and bobs. Yeah, I've got a show on the 15th of November at the Waiting Room in Stoke Newington, so come down to that if
There
you're
you
in London.
go. Definitely come to that if you're London based or just outside. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. Please do press the like button on this video. Press subscribe for daily Tottenham Hotspur and transfer content. And let's hope for a surprise victory at hell tonight. Come on, you Spurs.